Somalia is one of the most dangerous countries in the world to report from, not only for foreign reporters who face a fairly high risk of being kidnapped, but for the local reporters for whom it's almost equally as risky. The local reporters are targeted by groups like Hizbul Islam and Al-Shabaab for the freedom of their speech. Those groups would like to turn the radio stations and newspapers that are still operating in Somalia into mouthpieces for the insurgents. And those that don't comply face serious abuse. It's very common for Somali journalists to be robbed, beaten, tortured, imprisoned, and killed. In August 2008, I traveled to Somalia. I'd been following the news in Somalia since about 2006, and I felt compelled to go to Somalia as a freelance journalist to add my voice to others that were trying to highlight the plight of the Somali people. I met Abdi Elmi in Mogadishu on my first day in the country, and I hired him as my cameraman. Abdi is so passionate about telling the story of his country that he chooses to work with international journalists whenever he had the chance, at great personal risk. Abdi and I traveled together on August 23rd to shoot an internally displaced people's camp just outside of Mogadishu. And we were kidnapped at gunpoint en route. What followed for Abdi was 5 months of interrogation, humiliation, beatings, and starvation because he was a Somali journalist. There was 2 other Somalis who were kidnapped at the same time, a driver and a translator, and they did not receive the same treatment as Abdi. Abdi was specifically targeted. They viewed him as a traitor for working with foreigners and as an infidel speaking against the insurgents. At the 5-month mark, they decided to release the 3 Somalis. Our captors drove them out into the desert and released them, and told Abdi that if he ever talked about his experience or if he ever worked as a journalist again, they would find him and kill him and his family. So Abdi has now been living for a year and a half in a refugee camp in Kenya, separated from his wife and 3 small children. The importance of Somali journalists can't be overstated, because they're the only ones who are in a position to get the stories that the international journalists are unable to do because of the high risk of kidnapping. Abdi would very much like to be working as a cameraman again, knowing the risks involved. He would pick up a camera and begin working if somebody would give him a chance.